Hey guys, my name is Alan, as you can tell from the screen up here. So today I want to be talking about the writing process for my multi-model project. And obviously, many of you guys who are watching this are in college, that many of you know that the writing process has been with us ever since we were in school. And you're probably tired of hearing about it, but I'm not going to be telling you how to do the writing process or what to do. I'm going to be sharing you my version on how to do it, how to do the writing process, because my hope is that you guys will be able to gain a new perspective or a new approach in how to write papers and essays, and it will enhance your writing abilities. So the first thing is very important. You always choose a topic that you like. The worst thing and the worst possible idea that you could do is choosing a topic that you don't want to write about or that you have no intention or no interest in, because choosing a topic that you like is very important, because then it doesn't feel like research. It feels like it feels like you're just doing it for fun. And so what I like to do is, after choosing that topic, I like to choose something that's broad and very vague. So I chose beliefs, and beliefs as in, supernatural, the paranormal, the metaphysical, and stuff like that. And so the initial step, what I usually do is, for the outline, is I write everything that I want to say. So I have all of my ideas out here. It doesn't matter if it makes sense. I hope it does make sense, but I just kind of spit everything out because I need my ideas on paper in order so there's no surprises for me later, right? So after incorporating all my ideas out here, writing them down, I now know how I want to formulate my essay. And with the outline, in order to help the process, is I choose quotes, or I already have quotes lined up on where I want to place them. So body one, body two, body three, and stuff like that. I have all the quotes that I want to use. This makes it easier just for me personally down the road, because I know what to do and where to do what, and obviously these are all interchangeable. So my first initial draft, without real any feedback from anybody, is this, right? So my thesis is right there. Science demonstrates that many of these beliefs are false, and humans should not believe in any of this heresy due to generations of folktale and role play alongside religious beliefs coherent to mental disorders, and which are all explained through logical and physical and psychological reasonings, right? And I know I kind of read that sort of fast, but the idea here that I want to demonstrate, or that I want to convey, is that science shows through logical and psychological reasonings that the paranormal is not real. And it's because of that like, we believe in the paranormal because of generations of folk tale and stuff like that. And it's very broad, it's very vague, and a lot of you are probably thinking that doesn't make sense. And remember, this is the initial one. So the first thesis is probably never going to be the best one. And that's okay, right? So after a lot of feedback and stuff like that, I come to this version. So in light of history and cultural beliefs that have ignited and influenced society throughout generations, science demonstrates that many of these beliefs are false, and humans should not believe in any of this heresy due to generations of cultural folktale and role play alongside religious beliefs coherent to mental disorders, in which are all explained through multiple tests to identify the brain's reaction to events and how the brain intakes specific instances in order to conclude why hallucinations, the paranormal, and supernatural are not real. That one's a lot longer and a little bit more detailed, right? So in this version, as you can see, this one's April 8th, and that last one was April 3rd. This version is with my peers and more of the professor's input into it. And so it's a lot different than the first one, clearly. And I want to take you through something very important, is that in between April 3rd and April 8th, it's not that I completely stopped working on the draft, right? No, I continued working on the draft, but I didn't commit to it. So April 3rd to April 5th, I probably did a lot of the work. I took some time away from it. And then April 7th, I probably went back onto it to come up with the April 8th one, right? So in the same process, I do the same thing, because I never want to invest too much, because then my judgment on the paper becomes clouded and it becomes more of my opinion rather than something else. So April 8th to April 14th, I come up with this thesis, right? So again, the same process. My peers and my professor, and I come to this version right here. Due to the environment surroundings influencing the brain while growing up, as well as our will to survive and emotions, it is not uncommon to capsulate the wild imagination of the brains for entertainment purposes. However, studies of the brain's perspective towards the confidence about celestial quintessence have concluded that the metaphysical and strange apparitions that appear to be paranormal and transmundane do not exist in our everyday life, and they are mere myths. And this part towards the final, this is the one that I submitted, is very important because April 8th to the 14th is when I reached out to more of my friends and my networks outside of Middlesex County College, right? Aside from my classmates, I reached out to other people. And I think that is very, very important in the writing process. Aside from your own classmates and your own professor, it's always good to get more pair of eyes to look at your own paper. And so I reached out to my friends at Rutgers University. I reached out to my friends back in California and some of my old high school friends I still come in contact with. And I got them all to help me and try to see what I am seeing, right? And in that process, I was able to come up with this. And so this is definitely much better than whatever this is or was, right? And so after I submitted this draft, I did a little bit more research for the multi-model project. And after more feedback from the professor and more of my friends and obviously my peers, I kind of combined all of this into another final thesis, which in hopes of, in my hopes conveys what I want to say is stemming from cultural heresy with the beliefs passed down alongside of environmental factors influencing the brain while growing up. It is not uncommon to calculate the wild imagination of the brain for entertainment purposes. However, studies of the brain's perspective towards the confidence about celestial contestants have concluded that the metaphysical and strange apparitions that appear to be paranormal or transmundane do not exist in our everyday life and they are mere myths. Inevitably, it is the individual at fault for creating and accepting these mutated perceptions of reality under false pretenses and emotions, right? So this is what I came up with after more extensive research for the multi-model project. And what I want to explain and convey through is that um, because of cultural beliefs and fairy tale passed down alongside with how we grow up, influencing, our perspective, our views, it's not uncommon for society to kind of take advantage of that and use it for media. Think about it. How many TV shows do you see now are about vampire zombies and like apocalypse? But but science has showed that the paranormal and stuff like that is false because it's actually the human at fault for believing in these kind of strange perceptions of reality. And that's what I kind of wanted to demonstrate. Now, do I believe in this? Personally, I love the supernatural. I believe in it. I think it's awesome. But in terms of the article and what I'm trying to argue, I want to argue that it's not real and that we humans are the ones who have created it ourselves. And that's my writing process. The writing process I take is very relaxed and timed. I always separate myself from the paper and I always find as many new pairs of eyes as I can, because the more view and more perspective you have about the paper, the more that you can dive into it. But if you're clouded by your own judgment and you're clouded by the information in front of you, you can't really open and broaden your audience perspective. You want to reach a broader audience, and that's what good writing is, in my opinion. Good writing is able to speak to many people rather than to please a certain amount or specific group. And so that concludes my multi-model project. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.